What am I saying?
All right, we will call to order the City of Ojai Parks and Rec Commission meeting for Thursday, May 5th. And since it is your last meeting, Commissioner Ford, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And roll call.
Commissioner Gilbert,
Here.
Commissioner Roddick, Commissioner Wilson,
Here.
Commissioner Intner,
Here.
Commissioner Dutter,
Here.
Commissioner Firestone,
Here.
Commissioner Ford.
Here. All right, thank you.
Absent this evening is Commissioner Roddick.
Commissioner Roddick. Number 3, public comments. We don't have anybody in the audience. However, I would like to make a couple comments. Commissioner Roddick is not present. He has resigned effective immediately from the Parks and Rec Commission. He's got a full plate of all kinds of good stuff, it looks like. So we wish him well and we thank him. As well, Commissioner Ford, it is his last meeting. He has served us since 2013.
Sounds
I wanna
about
say.
right. I didn't realize tonight's meeting was optional if it was my last.
It was, yeah. Well, we don't really
But
tell
then you
you,
wouldn't
know,
have a-
so, yeah. So, but thank you for everything.
Thank you. It's been an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah, on behalf of the city, I gave him a couple of tokens of appreciation. I'm actually using one of them right now.
That's all right. That's all right.
No, I got another pen. This is yours. This is an official Recreation Department pen, a city pin, and a summer camp. Well, last year's version of summer camp T-shirt. So again, on behalf of the city, we appreciate, of course, your volunteerism and your input and your insight into recreation. You have a lot of background and experience. So hopefully, we can fill your shoes with a as capable
I'm sure you will.
person.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, no presentations and police department report. Moving on.
Good evening, everybody. Happy Cinco de Mayo. I have 2 things for you this evening. First one, in the beginning of the month, we had some vandalism. It started in Miramonte around Starbucks, the Red Stallion Plaza. I believe that's what it's called. Someone had put some initials onto the walls using paint, and they also left little messages for the police officers to try to track them down, try to get them. So that was one incident, and a couple days later, we found the same type of graffiti behind the Vons at the Y. We're doing an investigation on it. Luckily, we haven't seen anything new. We have a couple leads, but I just want to remind everybody, if they do see new graffiti pop up, please call the police department so we can keep track of it and possibly connect it to these guys or gals. Hopefully, they're just having a bad night and they won't be doing it anymore, but hopefully that will stop. The next thing is we only had 1 vehicle burglary in the city last month, which is outstanding. The vehicle was parked at the lower parking lot, the Libby Bowl. A window smash. I believe the person was playing tennis or something like that. But what I want to point out is one of the main reasons that vehicle was targeted is because there's a briefcase left in plain view. And when people leave packages, briefcases, purses, or anything of value in plain view, it's going to motivate somebody who walks by to break into the vehicle. If those items weren't in plain view, most likely that person is not going to take the chance of committing a felony just to see what's inside the vehicle. So I'd like to I'd like to remind people to make sure they lock up their vehicle, they store their valuables in the trunk, or take it outside the vehicle. And that will help us out tremendously. And it'll also help them out so they don't have to clean up the broken glass out of the car, which is very time consuming. So Reference to parks in particular in the city, we haven't had any problems. Our deputies are continuing doing the foot patrols, and I believe that's probably why we're not having a lot of problems, so that's a good thing. The last thing I'd like to bring up is that we do have a marathon coming up May 29th. It's the Mountain to Beaches Marathon, and I just found out that's the largest marathon in Ventura County. I didn't know it was that big, but Dave Kenny, the chief of police, he runs a lot of marathons, and he was telling me about it, and he says it's a great marathon, so we have that to look forward to. It is going to be at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's going to start on Ojai Avenue right in front of Libby Park, and it's going to go eastward in the beginning for about back out into the county area by Thatcher School, and then turn around and come back on Ojai Avenue. So there's going to be a little traffic problems in the morning. You know, luckily at 6 o'clock there's not a lot of people out there, but if anybody is getting up early to go somewhere on May 29th, you'll have to take some detours, so please give yourself some extra time. So.
Do you know where they are catching the bike path at? Is it at the Y or?
Excuse me. They changed it this year. Last year it was at the Y. They did have to modify the course a little bit. When they come back through the city going westbound, they get to the Y. They're going to turn on the Maricopa Highway, and they're going to go through Miners Oaks and down El Roblar.
Okay.
For some reason, they didn't want to use the bike path. I think it's because of the size of it. They're going to have so many runners.
Right.
But again, that's as soon as they're not going to go down the bike path. They're going to go northbound on Maricopa Highway into Miners Oaks.
Okay. Thank you. It is huge.
Well, they must
Yeah, I
they
know,
must
it's-
pick up the bike path before they get back to 33, right?
No, I think they're going to be going.
They go down to Rice and then.
Luckily, I only have to do traffic control for the city of
All
Ojai.
right. Well, I
I
don't.
have to admit that once they got out of the city, I don't care what. I believe it goes
Fair enough,
down
that's
La
fine.
Luna or Santa Ana down that way. So
And it is huge. It is the largest race in Ventura County. It's a Boston Marathon qualifier because it's primarily downhill as well. So it's a fast qualifier. Yeah, exactly. As soon as
I
they
believe-
leave Thatcher, it's downhill pretty much, So
I believe that they're expecting about 2,500 runners.
yeah,
That's a lot.
yeah, I know that sells out every year. So
And then they
great.
sold out this year. Yes.
are you running soft?
I'm not. My marathon days are not completely over, but I'm not running that. I do have friends in it though.
Excellent.
I'll be supporting.
All right.
I just wanted to bring up a point of interest. All city staff are going to be involved in an active shooter training May, is it 19th, 18th, or 19th? I think it's a Wednesday, whatever that, Wednesday the 18th. So just
That's correct.
post it or put
By
on
the
by
whole
the
Ojai
PD.
Police Department, we're putting it on, and we're having our experts come up, and they give out this type of training to all the different cities, employees. I haven't been part of this presentation, but I hear it's a very good one. I believe it's about 2 hours, so.
Just a point of interest.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you, have a good evening.
You too. Have a good night. I think we're going to go back because Rudy has joined us. No, come on up.
No,
We'd love to hear from
public
you.
comment / presentation.
Exactly.
Sorry. My name is Rudy Livingston. I'm the finance director for the city of Ojai, and I just wanted to come back to you. Last month I was here and I talked to you about the reserves and what we're kind of, we're going to kind of settling on calling it the rec surplus now, okay? Just to avoid some confusion on things. People have different ideas about what reserves are and things. I put this schedule together kind of quickly here, and it's not the prettiest. It's not what I would normally like to see is, beautiful fonts and everything. But we talked about where this money is going, and last month I promised you that I would keep you apprised of what's going on in here. Yeah, so you don't know, the first column is actually fiscal 14-15, and so it goes across. So like I said, I just decided about half an hour, about 5:30, that I would get this thing updated, and I apologized. I actually pulled an all-nighter this week, and
That time of the year.
yesterday, I came in at 9 o'clock on, Tuesday, and left at 12:30 yesterday afternoon. 9 a.m. Tuesday, so it's like, it was crazy. So I was in a little bit late today, and I've been goofing around with budget stuff and everything. It's been absolute crazy. I haven't done that in a long time. I think the college days, maybe a couple times since, but anyways, it was crazy. But what this thing represents is kind of where we're tracking the surplus. So if you look at this spreadsheet here, the first year, 14-15, we started off with a balance of $20,060. As I mentioned last time, it had not been tracked very well previous, and I think it just actually started in, was it 13-14 or 14-15? So we, management here, decided that 20,660 is is the best number we're going to have for where this thing starts. In 13-14, we did not have any surplus transferred in, but we did have $13,000 of expenditures, and that's what you're seeing down there. So I'm going to have this all cleaned up for you. Next month, I'm going to have a much better version of this. But what I tried to do is down in the middle section, there's estimated total cost of the project, and down on the bottom is the amount that's funded by this rec surplus money. So what we funded in that first year were these two things. There were some costs associated with the new playground that were not funded by CDBG or other areas, and then we apparently had some shades at the skate park that were put in. So that was what the expenditures were. At least that's what I'm trying. I'm not. Like I said,
Is it the skate park you said?
That's what I'm pulling up out of the CIP schedule that Greg gave me. So I don't know, that's why I say I don't know these things exactly for sure. But
Well, I can tell you that is not a project that's been done. There's no shade at the skate park.
There's no shade, so that's.
Just to let you know, that one's,
So, okay, so that's why I said this is an in-process
Right, a
progress
draft.
thing. I'm trying to show you what we can look forward to in the future here.
Perfect.
So that we can follow these things a little bit better. But anyways, I'm going off of a CIP schedule that, I didn't put together, and I wasn't here at the time. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. But coming into the 14-15, or maybe this is 15-16, I'll get the dates here right. But, so this is what I'm going to be showing you, what we're looking at here. But there were $11,500 expenditures charged. This has got to be 15-16, the first column. Or this year is 15-16, so that's 14-15, 15-16. We ended up with a balance in 14-15 of $82,180, okay, that we were going to transfer in as a surplus. And so that's actually coming in the 15-16 year, because we don't finish the calculation until the following year. So I'm showing that as coming in. At the beginning of this year, we had $6,000 available after any other expenditures we've had, added $82,000, and I'm showing that we have $11,500 that we were going to charge to this account for the picnic area that we're doing over at the Sarasota Park. And, I was freaking out a little bit after the meeting when we were talking about being funded by CDBG money, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, we can't be using this money. And I realized this is part of our match, the city match towards that project. Okay, so moving forward, we have we're looking at right now. We're doing the budget, and Sophocles and I are trying to come up with some real good numbers about where we think we might end the year. My initial projections don't show a surplus coming out of this current fiscal year, but Sophocles is telling me that it's because my revenues aren't high enough and that we should be expecting some better numbers. And he's probably right, to be honest with you. I'm in the process with all of the city revenues, putting them together so that in a spreadsheet to where I can actually look and say, for any of our major type revenues, we get 30% of it in this month on a historical basis, and 20% here and 60% here. And I know for a lot of the summer programs, we're probably getting 80% of that money in May, June, July. So that's where's the difference. I don't have those models put together yet, so I can't project it out. But Sophocles is telling me, it's going to be there. So when I'm showing, I'm not showing anything coming in next year, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be. The real important thing is that I'm going to be giving you guys a list of these things here, and I had a discussion with Greg Grant, our Public Works Director, a couple of nights ago, and talking about what we can fund, and I said, we need to be specific on what we're using the rec surplus money for, just as I promised you that we would do that. And so what I want to do is, I know that we have a listing of projects here, and I put down a listing of projects that we have going on for this next fiscal year, $548,000 worth. And what I told Greg, I says, we need to have a little bit of consideration of what, what you guys here in this room here have a desire to use some of that money for. And for the rest of that stuff, we'll use, grant money or city money or, TOT money or whatever it is. So that's why I'm bringing this to you. It's a work in progress. I just wanted to make sure that you know that we're working towards this to get you guys some good usable information, and so that you can give us some ideas of of these projects here. These are some of the main projects. There are other projects that are scheduled in the CIP program. That we have coming. So what I would ask is that you would, get together and give some of your input to Sophocles or to me or to Greg regarding the projects that are ongoing and what kind of things that you think would be, the things that I kind of put a few of them down in the bottom there for next year. Some of these things related to the bike park. We're looking at doing some shades over at the areas over there. Some of those things, those are not numbers set in stone. These are things that are on the CIP plan for right now. That $38,500 that I've got in that bottom section for next year. Those are things that are in the CIP plan, which I thought would probably be things that we would, be eligible for using our rec money, the surplus money for. So if you could get some input on some of these things and let us know. We don't have to do it right this minute, because as this is public comment and really not, it's not a presentation or anything. I'm just trying to get you some useful information and help you guys out, so you're not feeling like you're being left
It's
out
actually
and ignored.
agendized for us tonight, so
So-
it's on our agenda.
Okay, good.
So we have it
All right,
agendized.
perfect.
We moved it
So
forward
then,
from last
this
time.
is what we're at right now, so you guys know that at the end of fiscal, which year we're in right now?
15,
15, 16.
I got three years in my brain right at the moment. 15,
15,
16.
16.
So at the end of this fiscal year, this is what I'm projecting out right now, $77,000 for next year.
Can I ask a couple of clarifying questions?
You may.
For 16, 17, you're showing the zero balance
Yes.
at the end of the year, and all the expenditures that are there now will go into the CIP directly?
Yeah,
And, but
okay.
it doesn't show the surplus that we may or may not have because we don't know yet.
Because I don't know that yet.
Right.
So
Okay, so that'll
if we
add
have some
into it.
surplus, that $77,000 number will increase. If Sophocles is
fine.
truly correct, and he has his crystal ball finer tuned than I've got mine, then.
Years of experience.
Then, yeah, so that would be and that's, the whole thing is that's a historical perspective that we know, and I know that's out there, and I try to do the best I can projecting, but once we get these models done, we're going to be next year at this time, I think we're going to be in much better shape with regard to this.
For us, we're still, and I love that you've given it a term, rec surplus.
Yeah,
Very
that's what we're going to
helpful.
call it, rec surplus.
So we all know what we're talking about at the same
Exactly.
time. So the transfer in of the rec surplus is the surplus we have at the end of the year, once we've closed out the budgets and we
Yes.
know where the revenues exceed
Yes.
the expenses. And so that's the part that I think we weigh in on the full, complete CIP, but the direction we got from council at that point was to directly make some decisions about some of that surplus. From our commission with direct recommendations based on those numbers.
Yep.
And so just to be, I want to clarify it and get it all, so that we're all on the same page.
I'm
So
trying
that
to help
there's-
you guys out with
No, I
this.
know, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so
fair- that's a
I
fair
view this
statement.
as a partnership here. I mean,
Absolutely. And
we're working
and
with
that's,
you.
so what we're trying to understand very specifically is there's the whole CIP and there's
Yep.
money coming from various
Yep.
different places. And then there's a surplus that's beyond what we're moving directly into the CIP every year. Are they two different numbers or are they the same number?
Yeah, so just Greg and I were working on this, and actually, I'm going to be fine tuning some numbers here that we're going to bring to council with the budget. But so what we know is that we are automatically transferring over TOT, 20% of our TOT revenues come directly in to fund city CIP projects.
Okay.
We have gas tax money that's coming in. We have grant money that's coming in. We have some TDA money that flows through, Gold Coast Transit primarily for bike and paths and things. So we have all these different sources, all these different projects. The money, and then we have this rec surplus. Right now, we don't have any other money from the general fund specifically set to come over to fund projects in the CIP program. I heard from somebody that there was a thought that maybe there was $50,000 plus and I don't know anything about that. That was before my time, and it's nothing that I'm aware of, and I'm not planning that in. So
This is the only CIP
this
money
is
for
the only
recreation.
money that we're bringing in other than the TOT money that's coming, and that's.
And a
that's
portion of
good
that is
amount.
apportioned to recreation, or that depends on
No,
what
it's a
council
portion.
decides to apportion it
It
to?
goes into the big overall plan here. And that's why I told Greg, we have to carve out what you as a commission think is the best use of this rec money and make those recommendations. That's why I'm trying to, tune that, fine tune that a little bit so that we know that there's going to be a bunch of money spent. We know like I see $330,000 for that picnic area and canopy. Well, a significant portion of that's going to be CDBG money or what other. So we're trying to say, okay, this is the piece of the rec surplus that you as commissioners believe that we should be, carving out for these projects here. So,
And I
yeah.
want to just go back to the understanding of the 50,000 and various different things happening. There is a CIP, and I have it at home, plan that laid out funding sources.
Yeah.
And there have historically, not all of the funding sources for rec projects have been out of the surplus. Because you know what? Historically, we didn't have a surplus.
That's correct.
So, to be clear, there's a movement here that needs to be understood and documented and everyone comfortable with, because it is a change in the approach. So I will go back and look at that, and I think we should bring it back, and I believe that's a document that's adopted, but that Greg starts. Is that correct?
Well,
The CIP list with the funding streams coming into it.
With what the source of that.
The sources of funding. Yes, historically, there's been a CIP plan that projected out with funding sources for that year and then projecting what we would look for in those future years.
Correct.
And it absolutely, I know it had CDBG, and that's gone away.
Yeah.
So that pulls out.
Yeah.
But there were other funds, and I don't have it at the top of my head.
Yeah.
But we need to get that document,
Right.
and we need to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because that's a significant change to move from having other funding sources plugging into the CIP, and some of them are outside. Like, for instance, the shade structure, we have the Civic Association to thank. They bring a
Right.
big piece of money to that, and we have other ways that we're finding money, and I think that's excellent, and we'll keep doing it. But even looking at those old documents, it would be helpful to see, because it's not totally clear to me that this is definitely a movement to a different structure.
Well, and let me be clear, because I think I'm picking up something that maybe is a miscommunication or a misunderstanding. I'm not saying that this is the only funding source for rec-type projects, okay?
This is the specific fund that
This
goes
is
toward
stuff
that.
that you as a committee or a commission or whatever, it's a rec commission?
Commission, yeah.
That you guys are kind of identifying as priorities that you would like to see this specific
Money.
revenue source going to.
Gotcha.
Because you can see on here, for the next year, there's $548,000
Right.
of rec-type expenses these are just a few that I pulled out. It's
Right.
not the entire thing. So we're not cutting back on the rec expenses to just this rec surplus
Okay,
money.
that was what I was trying to understand.
Yeah,
And
so
I'm
I
sorry,
wanna
I'm
make- I picked that up, and I
No,
thought, I
I'm-
didn't communicate this properly.
No,
so-
and that's why I'm asking questions, just
That's
so I'm
exactly
totally
right.
clear on how it's
So
going.
that's
So there
why I
are
wanted-
obviously lots of other funding sources. 'cause
Absolutely.
This is the budget, this is a part of the budget going forward is for these projects.
Absolutely.
Got it.
So,
Okay,
so we're
thank
putting
you.
together two parts of the budget. There's the CIP plan, which is a 5-year outlook on what we think we want to accomplish in these next 5 years. And then there's the budget, which is the actual funding for this coming year. So
Right.
there's two pieces. And so it'll all be coming together, but I did want to make sure that
Thank you.
that I'm communicating properly, because we are not limiting to $77,000.
Okay, good, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm not trying to be.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no.
trying to
That's why I'm
understand.
here, so we can
Okay.
clarify.
So, and
Absolutely.
then as the budget comes out, we will get another detailed list that shows where the funding for each of these projects is coming from, after it's been adopted.
Well, you're not going to get the specific funding by project. That's something that I'm going to bring to you related to what you guys are identifying for the surplus funds, okay?
Okay, so.
That, because it's just like, we get all these funding sources from different things. We are identifying things. We have to start with what are the restricted amounts. Okay, so we know that gas tax money can only be used for
Right.
certain streets and roads projects. So we have to carve that piece out and say, okay, this is that portion that's allocated this that we know can only be used for these things. and say that's 800,000, we want to do $1 million, well, then we're going to have to come up with $200,000 more to do that. Similar thing. So we're going with the restrictive piece of it and trying to specifically identify, and then we got all these funding sources that can come in that aren't quite as restrictive, whatever can pay
Okay,
for
so our
this.
approach should be prioritize the projects, not based exclusively on cost.
Correct.
But on priorities.
Yeah.
Because what we were thinking before, my understanding was we were going to take that small amount of money and cherry pick some small projects. But what really we should be doing, it sounds like, is looking at the big picture and really prioritizing those which we think should happen in what order, not just based on price, because there may be other monies to come in to backfill them.
Exactly. And so I mean, and a good example of that is we may look at something and say, okay, we think this is going to happen, but we're postponing it because we don't think we're going to have adequate funding for it right now.
Right.
But if we can say, you know, we're $50,000 short and we think, and you guys think, you know what, we really think this bike park thing is a great thing for us and maybe we can't go forward with it because we, you know, look at all of the other needs and we rank these things, but if you guys say, you know what, we really think this is really important, so we're going to contribute, you know, $15,000 of this money towards that, then we can it could make a difference on when a plan actually, there's a lot of things that come into this, including, you know, right now we're trying to piggyback on a bunch of roads money grants that we got to get this done. We did $1 million this year. That's incredible. And then $1 million more on the plan for next year. That's great. But then, you know, then people would think, well, all that stuff's going out there, all this money's going out the door, so we don't have money left for rec things. That's not what we want. We know there's some really important things for the community. And I think I may have misspoke a little bit last month saying no money from the rec has gone into the new playground, this rec surplus, because I think there actually is a piece that's identified, but it's not the major funding of it. There are pieces of it, and I don't want to misspeak.
It's complicated.
Yeah, it's very complicated, and I understand that we're going to be invaded by huge snakes and ladybugs here in the near future coming up on that. So that's an exciting thing. I can't wait to get down there and see that. And,
I know, witness the process.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited to see that, and I think it's been great. Every time I walk by there, that place is busy. The kids in the community they're really loving that park. So that is such a neat thing that we got done this year. So
It's amazing.
anyways, so I won't take up any more of your time here,
Thank you for
it's a good
answering
thing
all
you
the
don't have the
questions.
buzzer here out the door. But I wanted to follow up with my commitment to you that we are going to, track these things a little bit better so that you guys can feel comfortable with what's happening and you can have a good idea, because we don't want to put it into the bowl here and just, kind of stir it around and everything. We'd like to know, I was making some muffins last night, and I know I have to put water in, I know I have to put flour in, and I have to put the blueberries in too. Well, afterwards, we got to figure out what pieces are where, and I want to make sure that you guys are comfortable with that. So I just want to be as responsible to you as I can. And
Thank you.
Really appreciate
and
it.
help
It's
you guys
very helpful,
out.
and I think
This is huge.
we will do more meaningful work with an understanding of this.
Yeah, so let's make sure you
And that's
put your
really
title
helpful.
headings up there, that it's 15, 16, 16, 17, and forward. So I truly apologize that this was a pretty quick thing.
One more time, sorry, it's 14, 15,
15,
right?
16 is the first year.
Oh, it is the first one.
Or no, 14,
It's the
15,
second
excuse me.
one. Okay, 14, 15, 15, 16,
16,
16,
forward.
17,
Yeah.
and then forward. Okay.
Yes,
Got it.
Steve McCleary and I were having a discussion about, at about 4 o'clock and talking about that. I said, you know what? I'm going to do an update for you guys so we can
Perfect.
have some numbers here.
Thank you, I
So.
really appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you for the service that you do, and it's a team effort, so we'll be working on this, and through Sophocles, you can give me some, comments.
So if we have
and-
any feedback directly on this or questions, feed them to Soph.
Go through Soph.
Absolutely, and Soph and I,
Perfect.
we talk all the time, so, he and
a
I,
debate that
he and
surplus.
I are gonna get to be
Right
big
before
the
buddies
surplus.
here.
We're talking about surplus.
Yeah, we talk about we talk about that, we talk about other things, but, and the projections, so we'll be working on fine tuning these projections so we can get some little bit numbers in there, which will increase the overall pool of what's available for this next year, assuming they come to pass. But you know what, I think, you get to this thing and, historic trends, usually they're not gonna be exact, but you can make some assumptions based upon those, and that's what we'll do. All
Thank you
right?
so
Great.
much.
All right,
Thanks, Rudy.
have a good
Thanks,
evening.
Rudy. We will tackle that later on in the agenda, and
Yeah, we
one
can
of it is to
discuss some of that.
prioritize that list and to
Yeah.
try to identify the things we want to see
There was some ideas
move forward,
as
some of the
well, so-
projects we want to see move forward, because some of, in what should come out of the surplus budget and what or what we can fund through city funds, because, for example, the field light poles too.
Right.
Are those, at 56,000, and I'm not sure of the exact, how accurate that number is.
Right.
But, should that be funded partially by the surplus and then the other by
Of course.
other funding?
I think the first part of that
Okay.
discussion is, we have a new understanding, and we'll
But-
start with discussing
Yeah.
our new understanding and then get to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And we're gonna, and I will talk about revenue and expense, program expense numbers as well.
Okay.
As we, later on in the meeting.
Good. Public Works report. I know Mr. Grant is not here, but I think everybody has a little bit of updates as we go around for some of it.
Yeah, I walked the park with him just the other day.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So you want to start?
Yeah.
I'll start on the playground, because I
Yes.
happened to see Doug Locklear walking away, and Greg was there, so I hopped out of my car and went and saw it. It looks great. The plaques are all in, and they look really nice. They did a
Really
great job. It's just wonderful.
Just while you're reviewing.
Yeah,
just
and
pass
then
that along
the lizard and the ladybug
to that one.
is in progress. It will be relatively soon. They were thinking of trying to put one piece in the 19th. I think they're going to wait and put all three pieces in together. And so it'll be soon. They don't have an exact date, and it may be into June, but it's soon. Things are coming together.
What would that?
For the lizard, the ladybug, and the arch.
Right, because
So-
originally they had said May 19th, but now they're moving it forward because of.
It makes sense.
Because of the other piece of.
Well, what they've realized is that it's also, the other piece wasn't ready, and it's also a big project to get the crane in and out of there and to coordinate all that, so it makes a lot more sense to do it once and get all the pieces in at once instead of bringing a crane out twice. And then the brick walkway, I haven't gone out today, but that was supposed to go in this week. So, is it in?
Supposed to. Well, the bricks weren't in when I went out and took that photo you were looking at.
Okay, so-
but
When
the
was this
pathway
taken?
is there. When.
Well, so it may be
Yesterday.
in.
The day before, actually.
Okay, not today? Okay.
Sorry,
Like that
the day
yesterday.
before yesterday.
All right, so in the next,
not there?
in the next couple of weeks, the brick path will be
Today.
in with the donor bricks. And then the shade is gonna come in late May. It's already ordered. They have everything. They plan to install it at the end of the month. Misters, we don't have progress on yet, but we're keeping on top of it.
I talked to Greg the other day.
Okay.
The misters are hopefully June. But
Okay.
if we can ask staff at all to push that forward, I mean, it's been since last August, and we know it's just getting hotter and hotter, so.
Yeah, I still think we're
Yeah,
looking at June for that, for the misters. I'm
Yeah.
not even quite
this-
sure where they're, what part of the structure they're going to.
Where they're gonna put the arches. I think they had some
Oh, where the
places
arches-
already,
There's
yeah.
poles there for them. I think, and I know the conduit was actually already ran, so, when we built the place, so.
So that's the Libby
I think
Playground.
it's crazy that it's gonna be almost a year before we put them in, but that's my personal opinion.
So sooner than later?
Yes. That doesn't seem like it, but
Good things come to those who wait.
yeah.
Is that-
Yep.
Then the other thing we discussed were the bathrooms, which is not specific to the park, but the lower bathrooms have not had any changes made to them yet. And the discussion we're having is Greg is approaching the Civic Association to try and see if he can get some funding to remodel both the upper and the lower bathrooms. And so that's in the works. My comments on that were, that may be a time frame longer than I think we should wait to fix the lower bathrooms, but we'll just keep asking for a report and see where it's at, and if it's going to be a really long-term project to do full remodels.
Yeah.
I still think that we should put in place the, dividers and doors, and that doesn't seem like an overwhelming project to get done before then. So I think we keep bringing it back each month and talking about it, but there is progress being made. I think from my perspective too, I'd like to see Greg come back and speak to what a remodel means, specifically to the upper one, because that one is so key to the whole park and the festival. All these things that we're looking to do with Libby,
Yeah.
this is a key piece of it. And so I think what a remodel means there is an important thing to discuss. So hopefully at some point we can put that on the agenda or have them come back during a public works discussion and get a better understanding of what that is.
Okay.
But that's on the,
Maybe when we get to future agendized items, you'll
I'll bring it up
bring it
again.
up again
Mhm.
there and potentially asking Greg to come in and and talk about that project. in
Present what the
particular,
project is he's looking at.
and maybe even a little bit about Libby Bowl. I wish I could recall some of the acts that are going to be, it's unrelated to the Public Works report, but acts that are going to be coming to Libby Bowl, which Amber Young has
Yeah,
a
I
lot of
saw
information
like
on.
Ozomotley's coming, and I know,
Yeah.
you know,
The
start having-
zombies.
if you start
Rick
having people
Springfield,
or
I heard.
acts like that, the bathrooms might need to be bumped up sooner than
Right,
later.
right, yeah.
So, and then the last thing I have for facilities or Public Works is the picnic shelters.
Yes.
Late summer.
Yes.
Because they're gonna skip, they're not gonna do it during the summer, because it takes 30 days to install them, and it would take far too long during the heavy use season. So those will go in at the end of the summer after the high season. Those were the questions I thought to ask, since I knew he wouldn't be here, but, so that's what I have.
Yeah, and that little photo graphic I passed around, so we got a
It's
new
in.
15-passenger van. It's quite futuristic
Wow.
looking. When you see it, even in person, it looks even more futuristic than that photo identifies. So we were talking staff-wise about the kids. It'll be quite the fight to get into that 15-passenger van on field trips. but
Yes,
it'll be-
the new van, yes.
It'll be the more senior campers, the campers that have, that have come, they're the longest, they've been there. Yeah, that they won't spill stuff.
And the
too.
water is in.
The hydration
great. The hydration
station is
station
there.
is in.
You see, it
Excellent.
is in. That is right outside, right in front of our gymnasium,
mhm.
right there in the little foyer area.
So nice.
And then the plaque, obviously, the one, I just took a quick shot of the climbing wall at
Plaques
Libby
are really
Park, and
nice.
The plaques are really nice, nicely
They did a very
set.
nice job
Yeah,
installing
and
them.
all level and smooth. And then there was one of our public works staff out there on the pathway. But I think there were some they were ordering bricks, and they were coming from Florida, I guess. The non.
The matching bricks to go with
matching
the,
bricks
yeah,
to go
that
with the
became more
With the
complicated.
donor bricks, so I think that's the holdup is delivery.
Mhm.
Lots going on.
Great. Thanks. All right, we have approval of minutes for both February 4th meeting and the April 7th meeting. Anybody have any comments?
Should we start with
corrections?
February 4th?
Let's start with February, yeah. Any issues with them? Do we have a motion to approve those?
I make a motion to approve the February 4th, 2016 Recreation Commission meeting minutes.
I will second. We have a vote?
Aye.
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 All right, as for the April 7th, I believe there was one correction.
Yeah, it's when you go to discussion items number 8A, Sarasota Park Master Plan update, we have as a bullet point the question whether or not the bike park could be located within the proposed plan. And I think we answered that question, and I think that needs to be reflected in the minutes.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I actually think we should separate it out as a separate, give it a space and separate it out. Because it wasn't really a comment back to the
Sorry,
planners.
with
I'm
Tom-
sorry.
so-
Under 8A,
8A, okay. And
It's-
your turn.
like,
It says-
6-1 down, it says whether or not the bike park could be located in the proposed plan.
It's a separate question that was asked, that was brought back to us from council. And
Okay.
all of the other bullet points are really responses to the plan and requests of the planners to make changes to that. I think it's fine to put it in there, it just needs to be separated. And then it needs to reflect our actual comments as to what we had decided and why.
Okay, so completely take it out of that master plan because it
No,
isn't part of it?
leave it in the
Or-
master plan, but it's not one, most of those others are comments back to the planner asking for clarification or different information. That isn't. That is something that we discussed during that same discussion item because it was about the plan.
Okay.
But it specifically was in response to a question posed by city council.
Correct. And I think,
It can be a bullet, but it needs to be separated down below, and you could have the question, and then below that we have the answer. Because what's in that list as a bullet point right now is a question. Whether or not
it was
the
that.
bike park
that
could
we
be located
discussed
within the
it.
proposed plan. It was a question from council, so that's a separate item.
Right.
Underneath 8A,
Sure.
and then our response to it. And
You'd like to see what our response,
We had a response.
We had a
Go ahead.
response. I would say our response was that it is not recommended for the plan.
It's not an appropriate location for that amenity, and that the amenities that we've put there better serve that park and our recreation programming. I think anybody weigh in, because that was where I think we went.
I recall that being the discussion, because I remember Commissioner Firestone wondering if that would be an appropriate location at Sarasota Park.
Right.
And there were comments made to the contrary,
Yeah,
from what I recall,
I
so.
think, right, also just that space-wise, it didn't fit into everything else that.
Yeah, we were saying it wasn't compatible. I
Right.
think overall, the general consensus was that it wasn't compatible with that space and the uses that were out there currently.
Right, and that the
So-
only place we might have put it, we find is a better use for what we've already planned there.
So
That's all.
just some of those, I hear what you're saying. Some of the responses
Not
and the
compatible,
commentary
not
from
enough
the-
space, yeah.
From the previous meeting, and then moving that bullet point basically to the end of the discussion about Sarasota Park.
You could
Because
even-
It was part of the discussion of
Absolutely.
the master plan.
You could even
but it-
put whether or not as asked by council, whether or not and then you could do it that way. Because
Yeah.
it was a direct, Ryan posed it, but the question came directly from council to our commission.
I understand that. And
So
th-
call it
that's
out
how
that way,
I will, or we will.
so that it's clear. Yeah,
I understand what you're saying.
okay, good. That was my only comment on the minutes.
Okay.
So I will make a motion to adopt the meeting minutes from our April 7th, 2016 meetings with, the addendum omission, how do you pose the addition?
With the.
With the additional
amended-
information
amended-
that you've received, the amended?
As
okay,
amended.
As amended. You can clean that up when we make the
Second.
minutes. Someone
Yeah,
can,
someone will.
sorry.
Someone will, yes.
So all in favor? Do you want to?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on to discussion items. Moving right into Sarasota Master Plan.
Okay, so when you made when there was comments made about getting a second draft of the park with overlays and with the change in angle of the parking lot, the response back, and I'm sorry, I apologize, I didn't bring the email with me, but basically, Community Works indicated that would be at a cost of, I believe, about, I want to say 3,500 to do essentially a second plan is what we were asking for. So.
What was specifically
if-
asked of them?
Say, that we angle, change the angle of the building and.
I don't think that
Well,
was,
not the angle of the building, but reconfigure the parking lot.
but with no angling of anything.
Right.
No, but even just reconfiguring the parking lot
Okay.
would essentially be asking them.
I just wanted to make sure that the
Do the
question
plan.
asked wasn't, because.
I can I don't
okay.
mind forwarding the request I made.
Okay.
And I thought I had actually, apparently I didn't include you in that email, but I don't mind forwarding the email I sent to him, just
It's
for
okay.
clarification purposes, but essentially he.
It's beyond the scope
felt
of
this-
work.
It is beyond the scope of work.
That's fine.
It is asking for, a
It
new
is.
rendition. It says in there
Yeah,
that includes,
like a-
the parking of the current.
Yeah, we were basically asking for a second version. He did change it up a bit. What were the changes? Some of the
Well, the ball court, the basketball court is now
basketball
removed.
court was eliminated. I did ask to show what extra turf area we would be getting out of that, but I think it's just,
Well,
it's hard to diagram there.
I think,
or
I think
add in.
instead got a hitting wall got put in there.
Yeah, we instead put this, what looks like quite a significant hitting wall.
Yeah, it does.
And you can see he did put in, where just a dotted line there, the CrossFit area.
Yeah. No, it's-
And he did at least highlight a little more the Boyd Center on the plan.
No, it's good.
But essentially, really, at this point, I have to say, we are quite a few months behind the timetable and the schedule of this master plan. And we've, in my personal opinion, we've pretty detailed it out, and this still has to go before the Planning Commission, still has to go before the Historic Preservation Commission before it finally hits council. And then this Community Works still has deliverables.
Right. And they were very
write-up of the
helpful,
plan.
very helpful with the shade structures, which we appreciated, in relocating the shade,
Yes.
the picnic areas.
Oh, the pic-
They,
yes.
they gave us a lot of
Sure.
help with that, which was
Yeah.
really
So
wonderful.
there has been a
Yeah.
decent amount of back and forth with Community Works, and I think they've been pretty patient. And I know we've also talked about the costs with each of these items in the master plan, and again, they've written out costs, and of course, we could kind of go to and fro with explanation of the cost, but they're all estimations too.
No, I think they've done
I
it,
do-
and they broke it out in the places we needed. They've already done that. That was in our last, the last version had that.
Yeah, and I included it in this packet again if there were any other questions, but I guess my encouragement going forward is to maybe even this evening make that recommendation
To present it to council?
accept this plan, to actually have it then go before
Planning.
planning.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then historic preservation, because they both are going to be asked to see it too, prior to it
course.
being approved or accepted by city council. They're
Right.
the last step in the whole process, and then, then Community Works can go forward, or after it hits planning and historic preservation, then Community Works can go forward with the other deliverables, the 3D model and the written plan for the project. So they do still have some deliverables, and if you,
So what you're looking for is a recommendation from our commission to move this forward?
If everybody's comfortable
Okay.
with how it
if
looks.
everyone's comfortable with how it looks, and my feeling is, I think.
Does anybody have any issue?
There, we're close.
Did we discuss the hitting wall last month at all? Was that highlighted as, I
Yes.
remember it bring, okay.
The
Discuss,
what are we
yeah,
talking-
adding
As
a
it
hitting
being
wall.
added there? I
Yeah.
remember, I know
Oh,
you
the hitting
referenced,
wall.
yeah,
Yeah.
the grass area. I'm not sure if we
Did we agree
decided to have
a
it
hitting wall
be
versus
open
grass?
or to be, yeah, that was my question, because I know there was a volleyball that was kind of an activity that's continuing at the moment that would.
Yeah,
Okay.
the hitting wall that they put in there was larger than I expected it to be. I was really envisioning it to be
Half that or something like
adjacent,
that.
half of that, and
Yeah,
adjacent
to the,
butted
closer to the
up-
water
butted
play
up to
or something.
the CrossFit area on that dotted line essentially,
Okay.
and just going out from there. You see that dotted line where the existing gymnasium is?
I don't see a dotted line.
That's not on yours.
No. It may not have come through if you
Oh,
need
it didn't come.
photocopies.
It didn't come through.
Okay.
So,
But I think for me, I would rather
just-
show that,
just-
as-
there's
I'd
a
rather
little-
show that as turf, and then let's put on there that we might like a hitting wall, and then
I
we
agree.
could place it.
yeah, I'm just uncomfortable having
Yeah.
the,
Pull
the
it out,
hitting
add
wall
the
be a
turf
solid
back.
thing, even with the rendering.
Yeah, I
Just in
do
case.
think the hitting wall was just a marker, more of a placeholder than anything else.
Okay.
And I can certainly go back to them.
I'd prefer to pull it out and add it to turf
Yeah,
and have more
I remember the
usable-
discussion being more forwarded towards it being more turf. And
Yeah.
the,
Oh,
the
for
hitting wall being discussed, and I agree that a small hitting wall might be
Yeah.
proper addition, but as it's rendered on this, it seems to be more dominating the space than.
Yeah.
And there's
it
probably a
needs
way
to-
to put it in the report as a desired amenity that we haven't reflected. Because there are other desired amenities that we might not be
Sure.
reflecting in here that we came out of it too. So I think
Sure.
add it there, but
Yeah.
just make it turf. I think that makes sense.
You'd prefer to just eliminate then, what
Yeah.
I'm hearing is eliminate the hitting wall altogether and put it in
As it's rendered, yeah.
As it's rendered.
Yeah, as it's rendered, and
Pull it out and put turf back in,
Okay.
if everyone's.
Is
As
that,
far as that,
Okay, I think we're,
that was my only.
okay.
yeah.
I'm good with that.
Okay, and in doing so, then I would again caution of waiting now to.
No, I think we can recommend it
We
with
can
that
recommend
change.
it,
Right.
Even recommend it with that
Yeah,
change.
because it's very
Does
straightforward.
anybody
Yes.
have any other?
others?
Is it turf now or not?
It is.
Yes.
It's all
Then-
turf.
Then you could just leave it. If it's already turf, then if we were gonna get a hitting wall, this is where we'd
This is
probably.
where
But but see, from my
Isn't that what the
perspective.
whole plan is?
Well, yes,
Is-
except I don't agree. From my perspective as an individual looking at this park, I don't think it's highest and best use right there to have a hitting wall. Because it takes too much of the turf area that I think is better, is a much more multi-purpose use to giving it a very specific use in the core area.
Okay, I heard
So-
something different, but that's.
Well,
then
That's what
fine.
I'm saying.
Well,
But that's,
they're saying, well, I think it's eliminated as it looks now, but potentially still
I wouldn't-
have a hitting wall, but not taking up all that turf area. is
Correct.
What I'm understanding is,
Yeah.
maybe there's a hitting wall, but it doesn't.
doesn't even have to be there. I mean, I think the amenity I'm in favor of, but the placement, I'm not in favor of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems like that could go in the written part as, we said, the additional things we might want to try to
Amenities,
fit in,
yeah.
right?
Try to fit in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only say the hitting wall there only because of CrossFit and their desire to have actually a wall. It doesn't have to be a hitting wall.
Doesn't have to be a hitting wall. For them, it could just be a
doesn't.
wall.
It could just be a wall.
Yeah, so I think
But
we,
quite literally
we
a
can work,
wall.
but I think to give up all of that, what could be
Yeah.
Yeah.
recreational multipurpose area to one activity, I don't want to see the plan reflect that.
Okay.
But but
If
have
that's-
discussion, because that's where I'm at.
I agree. I mean, if the CrossFit is looking for a wall, we might be able to build just a very simple cinder block wall that
To
is-
throw balls at, big
Yeah,
heavy balls.
yeah,
It's true.
yeah.
It's true.
It,
You
hitting
know,
wall doesn't need to be eliminated from the future plan at all, but just as it's rendered on the map here, it seems to be more of a dominant feature than what I envision that
Well, it
space
was-
being discussed as.
and I would agree with that observation. It is bigger than I was expecting it to be too.
And in a
So I don't-
location
it
that
looks
was
very
kind of
massive, like
volleyball
it's gonna be
or multi-purpose
all- Yeah,
centric.
that
Yeah.
it's gonna consume a big of that,
Yeah.
again, the turf area that we didn't want it to be in.
So,
But to
Right,
but to
but-
Commissioner Ford's point, I mean, it's already grass, so simply just putting the hitting wall in there doesn't
Well-
mean it's going to be that size. Just like the zip lines over here
Yeah,
doesn't mean we're
exactly.
putting the zip line in there.
okay, how about
Just
if we
like
put
the
green grass in
community
there
center
and
is here.
put hitting wall over the grass?
We can
Sure.
do that.
Because
I'm
I
just
only
saying, like,
mean in
the
the
community
sense that
center,
as
we're
a-
not
as
going
a-
to build a
as a-
35,000 square
Well, I
foot
think the
community center
issue
right
is,
here, you
if
know?
we're gonna have a hitting wall, would that be the place we'd put it?
And I would,
And
I
if
would
you're
say
saying
no.
no.
I would say
Right,
no.
I would say
If
no.
if we agree that it's no, then we take it off. If we agree it's yes, then it, like you said, it doesn't really matter how much space the words hitting wall
Right.
take up.
And
We can-
we could talk about the need for a hitting wall in general, and if it isn't gonna be there, where in the park would it go? I just know from the park users that come currently, they like to kick soccer balls off the wall.
Now
They-
that's- and that's
they like
different
to-
than a hitting
they like
wall.
to hit, what's that?
that's different than a hitting wall.
No,
When you-
but they
when-
want a wall to hit
I
off of.
totally understand, but when you're talking about a
It is,
solid
it's
wall
sim-
to kick a ball off of,
Uh-huh.
you don't need hard surface. When you're specifically, when I hear hitting
No, you
wall,
don't.
I
It's
hear
true.
tennis hitting wall, which takes concrete, unless we're going into grass and I know nothing about that. But my understanding of a tennis hitting wall is you need a concrete area beyond the wall to do that. So if we're just talking about a solid wall, great.
You're right. You're
So
right. You
if we
don't
take
need it.
hitting wall out of there and just basically say we want to somehow improve the backside so that it doesn't damage the stucco, because people are doing it anyway.
Or
Right.
And
Yeah,
adapt
make a-
that somehow.
Whether
I
it's-
remember
idea.
being a younger kid and kicking soccer balls against the set of the basketball, the existing gymnasium. That's like the most fun thing to do ever. You kick it uphill and it comes back to you. It's just
Yeah.
returns.
Strongly
but
discouraged by
So
staff.
I don't see that fitting in that area as rendered on the map, and
Yeah.
we leave it as
So I
grass.
think we-
Perfectly understandable. If you just
I think we're-
reinforce a wall to
Yes.
thicker
Reinforced wall.
cinder block walls and go at it, and
Right.
So
I think we're agreed there.
So we'll take off hitting, we can put wall.
We are, so I will potentially keep not even keep the wall there, just put a grassy area.
Say hitting wall. My understanding
I
is that
won't
there
say.
will be concrete,
Okay.
because that's the only way you can do tennis.
I will say wall,
Reinforced wall.
reinforced wall.
Okay, and there'll be grass,
The grassy
because you
area
won't
will
need
be-
anything other than grass there.
Because you won't
Perfect.
need anything
Okay,
other than grass.
great.
That's a good compromise on the hitting.
I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other comments or concerns,
No, I think it looks
questions
really good.
about anything else? No? Do we have a motion? Anybody?
Move to
Accepting?
Is it recommend?
Accept,
recommend, accepting?
accept and recommend. if you-
Accepting the master plan with the revision that we just discussed.
I'll second that. If that's what we're looking for.
Okay.
Good? All right.
Do you want
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
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 Yay.
Great.
Well, the motion passes. We'll move this on at some point to the planning commission, and then from planning commission to historic preservation.
Excellent.
That
Okay.
That was seconded by, sorry.
I seconded it.
Oh.
8B,
AB, yes, commissioner assignments and
but it's kind of,
committee
we're
appointments.
about to really redo our, I mean, we know what we have, and we can stick to that for now, but it probably doesn't really need that much more discussion at this point.
I don't think so either. The only thing
No,
I will
It
say,
doesn't.
under commissioner assignments, from last month, we said Commissioner Roddick would do facilities.
Right.
And I'm happy to put my name on that. But I also think that's something, again, it's like going to the office. I think whenever somebody's in the park, when you're over at Sarasota Park, and everybody on this commission should keep an open eye. You know, so, again, I'm happy to put my name under the facilities.
But I think we can just leave it for now. Let's see what we'll
And
look
we can do
like.
that as well.
Well, and I also put that on there just to make sure that it was accurate. I know Allison took some great notes, and I went off of her notes to put this in, and it looks correct. And I just want to add,
Oh.
you'll see I didn't really remove gymnastics. Honestly, I think gymnastics, even, it can go under classes. It is considered a class. And we have 3 of our commissioners in that realm. So when you don't see gymnastics on there, but I didn't eliminate it. It is just another one of our classes at the recreation department, so I think it should be included
That's
in
fine.
classes.
Yeah.
I had one correction.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Under committee appointments, you have Libby Bowl / Playground, which are 2 different things. And the Playground Committee has 2 members, and.
Oh, it did.
Yeah. So
was
it's
that.
Libby Bowl Festivals Committee, or whatever, it's going to come up with its name. It's a huge, long acronym that I can't remember. That's one, and
And
I'm on that
playground
one.
was-
And then the Playground
Sage.
Committee,
Was you and Commissioner Roddick, wasn't it? Or,
That
It's
was me.
Dutter.
Oh, it was
Dutter.
you.
It's,
Oh.
it's correct in the minutes from
Yes,
the
it's
last
in the
meeting,
minutes.
so you can just copy and paste it from there.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
they just got, that one
April
got
minutes are
combined.
correct.
so the person doing the minutes got it correct. I missed that one.
We were
Okay,
just trying to
great.
combine them
And
together.
the other reason I put committee appointments on here was, and maybe this isn't the meeting to do it in, but I thought you might want to set some meeting times.
I think we
some of
should,
them, or
we're
are
going
you
to
not ready for
have
that?
2 new members,
Yeah.
Yeah.
for sure. So I say we just put it off a little while, people follow through on what we're doing, and then report back, and then after that, maybe we can pull it together.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody else have any comments on that before we move on? Good thought, waiting, okay. 8C, the CIP projects.
Okay.
Well, you have that list. One of the
We do
lists
have
in
the
front of
list.
you.
I think the list, Sage and I just sitting here have some things crossing off, question marks,
Okay.
skate park shade.
Yeah, that's
But I-
that's
I
why
actually, it's almost
that's
like
why
I'd like
it's
a little
on
more
the-
time to.
I think now that we have this list, I would like us to wait on this for 2 reasons. One, we have the list now from Mr. Livingston.
Okay.
And 2, we have new members that are going to be joining us as well.
Okay, and I completely.
Specific-
Yes.
Definitely before we start prioritizing. the aspects of, I think, that we want to recommend that we use the surplus for.
Sure. I think it would be a good idea, though, after we walk away from this meeting, to have individually to be thinking about,
Do some homework.
yeah, do
Yep.
some homework.
For
Where do
sure.
we want to come back? And, you know, we've talked about the outdoor basketball court, and of course, that has morphed into something completely different now.
Of course.
It's a outdoor basketball court and a futsal court that we're combining in. The cost of which is way higher than what's on the CIP right now, you know? We were
Right.
just gonna lay down.
There's-
I think for prioritization, the best
Now
we
it's
can do is really prioritize based on what we think are the best and the highest and best project for right now.
Yeah.
And we can't, I think if we start to get in the weeds, well, we'll be in the weeds if we're talking too much about specific costs, and we need to
Yeah.
prioritize based on best projects, knowing that
Without
if it's a
cost.
$500,000 project and we don't have that, we can't do it, but it's good to know that that really is still at the top of our list as, you know, the need that we see being the most pressing, because otherwise.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, I would agree with that, with the exception of the 35,000 square foot facility. I would say all others are,
We could still prioritize that.
can.
Because what we're
We
talking
can.
about is priorities, not monetary
we
things.
we are.
It's all open.
True. It's true.
It's all
but
open, and
it's
if we
true,
do
it's
that,
all
we know it
open.
wouldn't get done, but
Right.
But when we come back, everyone bring maybe your top, I would suggest bringing your top 3 or your top 4.
I would say bring-
Regardless of costs.
I would say bring your top 5
Yeah.
regardless of cost, I think. And then I think, but I think be aware of some of the projects that are coming down the pike. The bike park. I know the skate park
Lights.
people are, going to be pushing hard for the lights. I talked to our former chair Sunday, last week, and she's going to be pushing for it hard in the next few months.
well, and I
Which
think,
isn't
So-
on our list, and maybe that's something else we need
Well,
to
it's
do.
on the list we
Is
got
it?
from Rudy tonight.
Oh, is
and
it?
we've
So-
talked about having it on the list. It's on there.
I'm just
Skate
saying.
park lights.
Oh, it is.
Keep
Pardon.
all of those
Excuse me,
projects in
it is
mind.
on there. Sorry, my bad. It's there. Yeah.
And I think the discussion is, the part about the money is the broader discussion of where we could bring money together too.
Mhm.
And I think that's a very useful thing to do here.
And, correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. The skate parks lights are a total of $60,000.
Yes, and
ballpark.
last time we did this process, we suggested putting 20 into the pond.
Right, because we agreed that a third should come from our commission. So that's
From
something
city
else.
money of some sort.
That's, exactly. That's something else I would keep in mind, that thought was that we would recommend that city money is a third. We did it for the bike park, and I think we should keep that in mind as we go forward as well, especially for some of these other projects, like the bike park, the skate park lights, some of these new.
And I believe council has already approved that
$7,500.
project.
Correct.
That-
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, yes, the
But that was
lights
sticking
have
to the
made it.
1/3 is what I'm
Yeah.
Right.
pointing out.
Yes.
So,
Okay, so we have homework, and if we have questions,
Yeah.
we'll shoot them off to you.
Yes.
And then this project list with the actual CIP, because when we have PRC and CIP is the city adopted CIP for 15-16.
yes.
And is this still currently it doesn't quite match up with what we got tonight, so maybe if you take a look at what's on here versus what's coming out of the budget office,
Okay.
because they're not the same right now. Because this was a document, I don't know that this is being updated unless you're updating it.
No.
Okay, so this needs to be updated with the city CIP. The most,
Some
the
of the
most
stuff's
up-to-date.
complete, but some of it's not, yeah.
Sure.
Or some of it's correct.
And then, and these numbers are changing every day right now. So
Right.
if you would shoot us off an updated version and see if you can match it to what you're getting, what we're seeing on this, the
This
rec surplus page, or try and figure out how those match together, that'd be great.
Sure.
So that we're looking at the actual city CIP instead of what's kind of an old picture.
Yeah, because this is something just created for this body.
I know. So it has to be
Yeah, of
updated.
course.
So, yeah.
Because the CIP is supposed to directly link to the city
Yes.
and not just our own, because the PRC is our own.
Right.
Yes.
And
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make sure that these numbers, do match with what,
So is everybody good on
I'm good with that.
homework?
Yes, sir.
yeah.
You good with that, Maya? You get plenty of that, I'm sure, right?
She's got, I know, an AP test tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, she needs more homework.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you. Staff reports. So Ojai Bike Park.
Last I heard, they are still trying to find a company to do that environmental study. One
Okay.
has not been selected yet for that. So there's not much more than that I can update for you, except that they're in process of trying to hire a company to do that study.
Okay.
That's as far, and I know the amount that I recall is 7,500 for
Right.
a company to do that study.
For the
but it
sequel,
hasn't-
right.
It
Okay.
hasn't been selected yet.
Any news
I
from you?
wish I could
Commissioner
answer any other
Firestone?
questions.
Have you guys met or anything, or no? No? We're
Nope.
still waiting on the city? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Open
They're
house?
Working on it, I'll say
Exactly.
that much, yeah. Open house, Allison will fill you in on that.
Yes, so we're getting excited. Been working quite a bit on that, contacting instructors and everything. We have moved forward with you guys' recommendation of an outdoor stage this year for our demonstrations. So I talked to our IT guy. It's presented a couple challenges, but we're gonna make it work and it's gonna happen. So, excited about that. We'll have some demos out there, as well as our five-a-side program. That's their closing ceremony. So I'm thinking we'll have their awards and stuff will be on that stage as well. It's kind of an
Oh,
added
that's a
cool
great
thing
idea.
for the kids to be able to be centerpiece like that. We're gonna have again our bounce house obstacle course. We're adding the rock wall, climbing wall for kids this year. I don't remember if I mentioned that last week or last month. We have 10 instructors that have confirmed that they'll be there. Still waiting to hear back from a couple others as far as the booths. Other than that, we're moving forward. Things very similar to last year. I did kind of make up for you guys. I'm hoping everyone can make it, although we're going to be down a couple commissioners, it looks like, but we'd still love to have you there, Mr. Ford, if you'll come. But those of you that will still be,
Volunteer job in the morning.
there you go. Those of you that still will be official at that point, we'd love to assign you to different locations. So I did make up that schedule. I'll email it out to you guys tomorrow morning. So I'm asking for each commissioner to work a half of the event if you're able to. So either from 10:45 to 12:30 or 12:30 to 2:15. And there's a couple different places you could do that. So I'll email that out tomorrow morning. Other than that, we're moving forward, getting excited. May 21st. Hope it's on your calendar.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll keep pushing for raffle items, you know, outside of the free food that'll be there for the community, pizza and popcorn and drinks. They also get pretty excited about who doesn't get excited about a free raffle. So
Yeah.
we have a few items now.
Right.
Commissioner,
Cool.
Chair Dutter brought one in this evening. So the sooner you bring them by our office, the better, because we like to package them up and have them ready instead of the day of. We'll still do it the day of. If you bring it the day of, we'll never turn it away. But the sooner you can bring it in by the department, the better. Yeah, it will be a good time had by all.
I'm
It's
very
our
excited.
third annual.
Third annual. Yep, just sent an email about it. If you all didn't get it, let me know. I'll make sure your email's in our database.
got it.
Okay, if you didn't get it, let me know.
Great. Summer activity guide.
Oh, you see it there in front of you, and it
Yes.
is literally hot off the press. They were just brought to the office today. They will be mailed out on Monday morning now. So we're definitely a bit behind the curve because this is the first time in as many years as I've been with the department that we're going to mail the activity guide out. I don't think we've ever mailed it out before, to my knowledge. So it will be going to everyone in the valley, all 93023 and 93022. So Oakview and Ojai. They'll be mailed out on Monday. The publisher tells me you should have them in your mailbox by Wednesday or Thursday. So we're excited about all the summer activities we have. Of course, all our one-week specialty camps for some of our newer commissioners. We have about close to 20 maybe specialty camps? 15 to 20? One-week specialty camps in addition to our day camp. And as we talked about earlier in the evening about revenue source, it is actually the one program, even though it is only 9 weeks long, it is the highest source of revenue for the department. It brings in the most amount of money in a fiscal year, even though it's only 9 weeks long. So it is the most important fiscally for the department. And just overall fun-wise, it is as well. So some of the things I'll draw your attention to in the activity guide. Let's see, on page, just another family movie night that I want to announce to all those folks watching. It is going to be May 27th, Friday, May 27th. Oh, it's on page 21, if you want to look along there. So on page 21, it's Friday, May 27th. The movie's going to be Inside Out. And you can all see the information there, but for those who might be listening, again, as always, it's from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., $10 per child for children ages 5 and older at our Boyd Center, 510 Park Road. So these have been very popular. Anywhere between 35 and 40 kids come per parent night out movie. So very fun to go attend. So Inside Out is May 27th. And then we had just this last Friday, Michelle Paul's event.
Yep.
Yeah.
Friday.
And I'll pass out the exhibition, the program that they put out in the exhibition. So it was the 37th annual Michelle Paul's Katie Edwards exhibition. The exhibition is in honor of two gymnasts that had participated in our program that passed away. Not while they were participating in the program, but in the course of their participation. So you'll see in the back of the program, there's lots of sponsors, and they made over $2,000 in the sponsorship just through this program. So I'll just pass that along. It has all the participants in there. So there were 85 girls that participated in it. And for some of the girls, it is the...
And boys.
What's that?
And boys.
And boys, pardon me. Yeah.
4 boys.
Excuse me, on the boys there, we did have 4 boys, yeah. So yeah, 85 boys and girls. And so it's all the children that are 7 and older, so what we call our movie stars, or just stars, actually, from stars, that's 7 years of age and up. So for some of them, it's the one time of the year where they get to show what they've learned through the course of the year. So if they're not in competitions or anything else, there's not really an opportunity for them to show what they can do on the balance beam or the floor. And this is the one event where they do.
Oh, I will also say, if I may, that it was videotaped. Michelle Paul's was videotaped. It aired live on Channel 10. There are a number of times it's going to be played again on Channel 10, I think this week and into next week. If you guys want to know when, I can find that out for you. But you can also purchase a DVD of it. So if you didn't get a chance to be there, but you want to watch it, it's super cute. It's about 2 hours long, but action-packed and a lot of fun. You can purchase those. They're doing a fundraiser for the parents group. I think they're $5 a piece. So.
Nice.
Just so you know.
Yeah, thanks, Allison. Yeah, so that was...
Can I ask a question
yeah.
about the guide? The Pitt 2016 strength training for basketball.
Uh-huh.
I know they was on the strength training, but is this different because it's specific for basketball? Is this new?
It's not new. It is...
Been happening for a while.
Yeah,
It
Was
happens
always-
every fall.
So it was always fall is for basketball, and then it switches sports? It's always been basketball.
No,
So-
he's just done basketball.
Oh.
And it's
I thought it was for kids from different sports did it.
well,
He has a program that goes year round. We changed it just open weight room is that program that kids are in that goes year
Okay.
round in the afternoons, but they get a lot of individualized training with Gary, who's the instructor. But then in the fall he does
Specifically for
specifically
basketball.
for basketball. It's actually we get quite a few. I think we
really
had
like the-
15 last year in that program.
I like the way you've graphically presented it. It's very eye-catching.
So speaking of graphically eye-catching, so we have made some changes. You'll look at the gymnastics page with, I mean, you won't be able to recall, but we've made it so that we can put activity numbers in there for everything. Gymnastics, in the past, we haven't included it, and we are encouraging interactive, online, the
So it
guide
looks
will
more
be
like what they're gonna
interactive.
find
So
online.
they can just
That's
click,
great.
again, anywhere where you see a activity number, they can just click on that number and go right to online registration, where, once again, we've dropped the online convenience fee, so there's no additional cost to register online. So
Great.
we're encouraging online registration, and that requires everything to have an activity number, a barcode, if you will. To split convenience.
Lacrosse camp new? Is that, have you been doing that?
But
That is new. Yeah, that's,
Good
it'll be the
catch
first
on
time
that.
we do lacrosse this summer. And the instructor came to us, and he's also looking to continue programs into the fall. So he's doing a camp, then he wants to do a class, and hopefully, potentially into a league.
Great.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's definitely kids been dabbling on and off for years here in Ojai, and
yeah.
driving other places.
So, and we love it when someone wants to come in.
Come
and
see you, yes.
come see us, and we just recently had someone reach out. They'd like to offer tap dancing with the rec department. So we're always, that wilderness program is, we've had
Very
that
popular.
a year, maybe
Year and a
year
half.
and a half,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of exploded in popularity. As soon as we got our activity guide online, which we had before we got the hard copy, there was probably 20 registrations in the wilderness
great.
program,
We have a
roughly.
lot. Some of them are almost full.
Yeah, already. So wilderness was a great addition to our programming. So we're always looking for new and interesting activities to offer to the community. So if you're out there and you have a special skill that you want to offer to the community, we'll be willing to hear you out.
Are they still working on trying to get a drop-in volleyball?
We are. We had someone came to me interested in that. Still trying to connect and coordinate there, but it's definitely on the docket as a potential.
Nice.
It's a little premature to be talking about softball tournaments, but there has been talk around the department to do softball fundraising tournaments and then use those funds specifically for field improvements. Because there used to be quite a few softball tournaments at our
Yeah.
park, and
They can
they've
be
gone by the
lucrative.
wayside, but
That Labor Day tournament used to be
Huge.
huge.
yeah.
Yeah, I had someone that actually came to me about a month ago, and they want to rent our fields and run a softball tournament for Labor Day. Said they were involved in the old ones that were ran, and then we're talking about, just as a department, putting on one for Memorial Day. So we'll kind of see. It's coming up quick, but we'll see how it goes.
It's coming up quick.
It's like in 3
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah, so it was a little touch and go with these guides, but they will be
Great.
mailed out on Monday. With a new publisher, there was a learning curve for both of us to, how the whole mailing process worked and the like, but they will be out before our open house, which was, for me, the key
Right.
to
Yeah.
get them up.
No, they look great.
Yeah, great. Let's see if there's anything else. Not other information, so I don't have anything else. Allison, I don't know if you do for class updates or programs. That's all I have there. But on the other information side, if you don't mind me jumping to
No, go ahead.
9D, unless you have any questions about, any more
Not about the
questions
guide.
about programming or the guide. So we talked earlier about the revenue and expense. So just on a programming level, I didn't put out expense for staffing, but I'm gonna we haven't made any big changes in we haven't added a lot of part-time staff. We certainly haven't added anything full-time. As a matter of fact, I would contend that now that Mr. McClary's job and position has changed, there should be actually less applied to against our department. But just from a programming, revenue last year in 15 was 355,000. Right now, it is at 352,000. So we're just $3,000 behind the previous fiscal year, which again was we were at 520. We finished at 521,000. So you can see where summer when summer kicks in, the kind of revenue it brings in. And then the expense last year at this time, well, at the end of March, I should say, was 115,000, and the expense, programming expense, right now for this fiscal year is 112. So we're 3,000. It's almost exactly, 3,000 behind in revenue. We're 3,000 less in expense. So it's almost exactly the same revenue and expense. And so we're on pace. Might be slightly below 520, but I don't see any reason why the summer, which is again our biggest fiscal time of year, won't be the same as it was the previous. And that's why I'm giving a confident in going forward. That might mean a surplus of, in the end, whatever it was, 82 last fiscal year. This fiscal year could be that same amount. So keeping that in mind when you're doing your homework for the capital projects. But although we're not really looking at costs, just what we'd like to see. I don't have any other information to share as far as rec updates.
Any questions? Okay. Thank you. The guide looks great.
Yeah, really nice.
It's really good.
It does.
Commissioner reports and comments. I have a few, but anybody else have anything?
I have Libby, but go ahead.
Libby? I was talking to Sunday, and did you guys see that Tony Hawk was at our skate park?
I did.
No.
No.
Tony Hawk was there, what was it, a week and a half or so ago? Just popped in by himself with nobody,
Have fun.
skated for a while with the kids, took some pictures with kids, and then took off.
Nice.
Amazing.
My
So-
buddy made it on his Snapchat
Yeah.
feed, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, he did a little Snapchat video with one of the kids at the park. So, like completely,
Just
yeah,
never know what's going to happen.
incognito, but stopped by. So,
The Ojai Park is a great design and has a lot of people coming to visit, for sure.
yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
She was
that-
pretty excited.
I bet.
That's
Just
impressive.
happened to catch a picture.
Some
So
momentum.
yeah, exactly. So and then Vice Principal Javier Ramirez was inducted into the Ventura County Cross Country Hall of Fame as well. So
Well
just
deserved.
yeah, exactly. Just a plug for a former teammate of mine, but and then Libby Park or Libby Bowl.
Be Bowl. We
Saw Bowl Full of
interviewed.
Blues is coming back.
Yes, Bowl Full of Blues is coming back, which is
That was always
wonderful.
cool.
They're on the calendar, good to go. We interviewed prospective committee members. I don't remember the number, but there were so many people. 13, 14, a lot of people.
Wow.
A really wonderful, amazing candidates too. The people who applied were just incredible. So we originally were going to take 2, we expanded to 4. So there'll be 4 new members. We're working on getting our first meeting going and trying to get the calendar together.
Yeah,
It's always hard to get everyone
I'm sure.
same
right?
time, and then we'll get to work. And then, as was in the paper, the first of I'm not sure how many because these are not contracted events, but Sterling's going to do. Oza Motley is on the books for the first event, and other things are filling in. The Film Society has, I think, quite a few, at least 6 dates for films, and I think they're gearing it. It sounds like they're gearing it toward like very family-friendly, big films. I mean, they threw out possibly like doing Purple Rain. It isn't scheduled yet, but the things they were talking about doing were like Purple Rain and Star Wars. Really,
Yeah.
And hopefully gearing it toward a very wide audience, which I think it's going to be really neat. So all kinds of things
great.
are going to be happening over there.
Are some going to be in the bowl? Or
Those are all in the bowl.
All in the bowl?
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Exciting.
Yeah. It's a moving target. Things are all over the place. There have been dates given up and dates taken back. I mean, but there's a lot of interest and a lot of there's I think it was Scott Weiss came in. They're going to do a Pops concert, so there's just going to be. It's already starting to really. There's an upswell of interest from the community and different groups, and so it's good.
It's
Lots of
nice to
energy.
hear it's going to be used.
Mhm.
Anybody else?
I'd actually like to promote something as
Yeah.
well. I'm a board member on the Ojai Valley Youth Foundation, and they are offering or having a fundraiser at the Ventura Harbor Comedy Club this Saturday. You can go on Brown Paper Ticket to purchase the tickets, or you can well, you won't be able to contact me at the Recreation Department because it'll be this Saturday and I won't be there. But you can actually contact the Recreation Department if you're interested in purchasing tickets, and they can contact me. But you can go on Brown Paper Ticket to order it. But it's this coming Saturday, 7 p.m. Tickets are $20. Ventura Harbor Comedy Club for the Ojai Valley Youth Foundation.
And you have a golf
Fundraiser.
tournament coming up too, right?
There's also a golf
Is
tournament
he?
too. Don't know the date of that off the top of my head. It's first week of June.
Yeah, I think June. I got a phone call.
I
on it
might be
yesterday.
able to. Maybe I'll announce that at the next Park and Rec Commission meeting, which will get to
Perfect.
that. But anyway, thanks for letting me
Yeah.
talk that.
Alrighty. No city council liaison tonight?
Who's
Future-
supposed to be here?
It's Commissioner
Councilwoman Clapp.
Councilwoman Clapp, right? Sorry. Yeah.
Meeting dates, future meeting dates and agenda items. Obviously, I think we have the June 2nd, it says below. That
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds right.
sounds about right. Anybody have any agenda items? I know we discussed the bathrooms,
The Libby bathrooms.
Libby bathrooms.
Yep,
So the
I'll
request,
put,
I think, is to
uh,
have Greg
Rick-
present
To have Greg correct.
Greg-
the project that he's proposing.
The scope.
And then to, yeah, the scope of that, and then to have a general discussion
Yeah.
about the bathrooms at Libby.
Exactly. And then the other thing I would like to keep on, just maybe the staff updates, is the progress of the Sarasota master plan as it progresses through,
Once it's off our, yeah.
through planning and historical.
keep
and
that on there,
just-
yeah.
Yeah,
As an
like the
update.
bike park, quick update,
bike
you know,
park, yeah.
so.
That's a good idea.
And then again, the bike park.
And then we're moving
So we
forward,
can see 'em.
after we seat new commissioners, we're going to move forward the item of 8B. We were tabling that to an agenda where we have a full
Correct.
commission.
Regarding item,
Sorry, say that again.
Oh, sorry, item 8B, that we talked briefly, but we need
Assignments.
to move it forward as commissioner assignments.
Okay,
Moving that forward to when we have all of our,
Oh.
when we've seated all the new members.
sure.
regarding the CIP for future meetings, do we want to put that on the agenda for June?
Yeah,
And at least start our,
yeah.
okay,
I think
so, June, sounds good?
Okay.
And then.
Put it
this-
back on, and we'll at least have some sort of,
Were you trying to
I think
talk?
Maya's a little too
Sorry, Maya.
quiet, but
I won't be able to make it to the June 2nd meeting because I have a play that I'm going to be in.
Oh, exciting, what play are you in?
You can't take it with you. The Nordhoff drama program.
Plug it for it, yeah. So
Nice.
what is it again?
when is it?
You can't take it with you. We're doing it June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. You guys should all come.
At the
see it.
Matilda Auditorium?
No, we're doing it on our little theater.
Oh, okay, nice.
It's gonna be really good.
So on campus?
Yeah.
Okay, and tickets, if you want to get them, what do you do?
Well, we haven't started selling them yet, but you can either get them online or I believe at the door.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, you could probably go to the Nordhoff
That's exciting.
website, I imagine, to
Yeah,
purchase the tickets.
Mr. Hoy should have a website set up.
Well, congratulations.
Nice,
That'll
that'll
be
be
fun.
fun. Okay.
Oh, the last request I have on the rec surplus item that came out that is clearly in draft form. Can we be sure to get an updated version of that
The
as
what?
soon as, the rec surplus?
Mr. Livingston's new
Oh,
report.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
as-
I figured you were wanting that included in the whole bringing the
Yeah,
CIP
but if we could
discussion
get- if
back.
he-
As soon
if
as
he
it's
could-
updated, though.
Yeah, as soon as it's updated, we could get an email copy.
So that we're not waiting
So-
until right before our next meeting to get it?
Right, or getting it at the meeting.
Yeah, that too. Well, I understand. I'm so
Yeah,
thankful
yeah,
that he got
we'll-
this done.
we'll try.
Because I am,
We'll-
I am,
we'll
I'm
do
totally
it.
understanding that this is the wrong time of the year to ask for anything.
Yeah.
But it sounds like he was gonna work on it anyway, so whatever he comes up with,
Yes,
if we
but
could get that, that'd be
you
great.
don't ask for it, you won't get anything. So
Exactly.
I will, and it helps, because then I can help move it along,
Okay,
Great.
at least a week before, potentially.
yeah, well, more
Well-
than, earlier would be better.
Earlier would be better. Yeah.
Because these two together are a picture that we're trying to get our heads wrapped around,
Yeah,
and it's new.
it's getting there. Okay,
Okay, we're good.
thank you. We're adjourned.
Good.